Our first day back in the giant Blyde River Canyon, and we begin our first morning's quest for those creatures that remind us of our relationship with the living world. The grey-backed tree frog, a gentle and delicate little creature, makes me think of the relationship that we mammals have with temperature, how we suffer the cold and how we suffer the heat, where the reptiles and amphibians simply change their own body temperature to match that of the outer world, and so they don't suffer the cold as we do, they simply become the cold. And into the riverine forest that borders both banks of the Blyde, and there, up high in the branches of a giant quinine tree, we find a wood owl, in fact a pair of wood owl who sit fluffed and waiting for the day to pass and the coming of darkness, to when they too will begin the activity that keeps them alive. Huge jackalberry trees and fig trees and a great variety of fauna and flora. This is the place where two major ecotomes cross over, the high veld and the low veld respectively, so the area is quite abundant with a wonderful diversity of life form. Is a African rock python, such a pretty snake, wonderful colors and markings. This is a juvenile white-breasted cormorant. The python does, however, seem to have his eye on the cormorant. I would wonder how the python's going to find his way down to the cormorant, but he's certainly got his attentions on the young bird. But the cormorant is somehow instinctively alerted to this aerial threat and decides itself to take off and find some safer place to fish and survive. Always something living and dying. Here in a rock pool is a clump of tadpoles voraciously involved in cleaning the drowned carcass of a giant centipede. Tiny little creatures reaching, determined to live. Anything that finds its way into their lives becomes a wonderful part of the symbiosis of life and death. I stand constantly in awe of this process, knowing that it is as perfectly choreographed as anything could be. And every time I see it or witness this process of life, I am reminded of my place.